Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for an Arsenal versus City review. A bit of a tough watch, but we got the win in the end. Let's iron out our thoughts. Right, Joe, we got our 3 points, but it was a bit of a tough watch. Quite a controversial game, if you ask me, as well. A lot of decisions I think Arsenal fans may feel hard done by, but luck was on our side. And I think what we said after the Brentford game was that even when you're not playing well, the fact that you can get 3 points and win is obviously very much a champion's trait. But on this actual game, they were analysing, it really wasn't the best performance. And like I said, Arsenal may feel a bit hard done by to not come away with a point. What are your thoughts?
We didn't deserve a win. 100% didn't deserve a win. I can say it now just by looking at the player ratings we did before we started recording. We got absolutely carried. You said before we started recording, we got carried by a couple of players there. It was a hard watch. You said during the game as well, it was the worst we've looked in a very, very long time. There was no movement. It was slow. They look absolutely knackered. I'm glad we've got an FA Cup game soon against Swindon because they need a rest. They're absolutely broken. And, you know, there was news before the game that Foden wasn't fit. That's a blow. Stones isn't fit. Apparently Zinchenko's got COVID. So when you've got Klopp and Tuchel moaning and saying that we're not being affected at all, it's just blatant lies, really. It's where Arsenal had a big gap to this game. They had their game in between. I can't remember if it was the Boxing Day game or not. I'm pretty sure it was. Or it could have been the one just before New Year's. They had a game postponed. They had a bigger rest. I think we had 2 days to prepare for this one. So we were really not in good shape. But again, champions performance, the 3 points is all that matters, and that's what we got.
I said in the preview with you that Arsenal are probably slightly more evolved than they were in August, and they're a better team. And they did, to manage. They really put it, like, as far as they can go, Arsenal, I think, put in probably a 10 out of 10 performance. And that showed by the reaction they got from the fans at full time. You know, the Arsenal fans were cheering their players. Obviously, the City fans were fairly ecstatic to get it. It was a 94th minute winner or something like that. But you would feel hard done by a little bit if you're Arsenal. But there's a few controversial decisions in the game that I think people on Twitter are analysing heavily right now. The first one I'm going to ask you about is obviously Arsenal's penalty shout. Odegaard's through on goal, I believe. Arsenal fans claiming Ederson's chopped him down. But from what I see, it looks a bit like Odegaard stands or catches Ederson more than Ederson catches him. What are your thoughts on that one?
It's odd. It's odd because there's about 3 different angles that show 3 different things. One of them shows Odegaard getting cropped. One of them shows Ederson getting the ball or looking to get the ball. And one of them shows Odegaard stamping on Ederson. Now, the one that shows Odegaard stamping on Ederson is the close angle, the close shot, the one that's really zoomed into the ball. And I believe that is the case. I believe that if you look at the replay, slowed down, I know we say slowed down, it can change things. It's different to real-time speed. But Ederson's gone to win the ball, and Odegaard has put his foot in front of it and stood on Ederson. He hasn't gone to get the ball. He hasn't gone to kick the ball. He hasn't gone to try and score. He's gone to shield the ball in effect, but he's caught Ederson. It's not the other way around. Ederson hasn't fouled him. He hasn't gone to catch him. So it's a bit 50-50. I can see why Arsenal fans are annoyed, but at the end of the day, like, Ederson hasn't initiated the contact there. I don't think it's a penalty.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a tricky one, and VAR had a big job to play there. Obviously, I watched the main VAR guy, I forget his name. He was on BT Sports after. He's speaking with Rio Ferdinand and Johnny Lescott, and he kind of ironed out why it wasn't a penalty, but then Rio Ferdinand couldn't believe it either. It was a very tricky one. My thoughts, I think, are the same as yours. I don't think it is a penalty, but if it was given, you still would kind of be a bit like, all right, I understand. But I suppose the next one is the red card, Joe. The red card happened in the middle of the park. I think it was, for me, what changed the game. I kind of find it hard to see City winning that game, especially the manner in which we did, if Arsenal did have their full 11 players. I think Arsenal possibly could have gone on to win it if they had their full 11 players. I think Smith Rowe came on and did a decent job. If he had a full team of players around him, maybe would have been able to offer a bit more, but it just wasn't there. What are your thoughts on the red card? I think it definitely really saved us, if you ask me, and saved our chance of getting 3 points.
It saved us, but it was a red card. I mean, it was an absolutely stupid decision. It was like the Jimenez one. What's he doing? He's on a yellow card. Why is he just gone in there and cropped him? What's he doing? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the best part about it is the first yellow card was for stamping on the penalty spot, scuffing the penalty spot for Mahrez's penalty, which he scored. So it makes it even more sweeter that he's been booked twice for doing something stupid. It's ridiculous. It's a red card every single day of the week, twice on a Sunday, whatever you want to say. He's gone in with some sort of WWE move, and like Gabriel Jesus is smart there. He's chest controlled it over him. He's away from Gabriel. If Gabriel doesn't break him down, we're on a break with 3-on-2. But he's on a yellow card, so he shouldn't bring him down. It's ridiculous. I don't know what they were complaining about. I saw Xhaka at full time going mental. The referee saying he got 1, 2, 3 things wrong. It's just they feel aggrieved because they were better. But I mean, it was a red card, and it did change the game. Even when they had 10 men, they still looked on par with us. That's just how poor and how sloppy we were. They were still pretty good. They still had a few chances. I think it was before the red card, actually, that Martinelli hit the post from an open goal. That was also a big turning point, because if he scores that, you're thinking, it's game over.
Yeah, you would have to think it's game over. But I think that the red card, he really screwed his team over there, because they were gaining a lot of momentum, and they were really creeping into danger territory for us. But he kind of screwed his team over there. You'd have to think, like, I was talking to Arsenal fans live at the time, and they were giving it the big into me, saying, "Oh, we're all over you, all this," and then the red card comes through, and I was like, "Yeah, well, you've kind of been screwed over a bit there." But the next controversial decision, sorry, I think it was before the red card, wasn't it? Was the penalty that we got. I've seen once again a lot of Arsenal fans on Twitter saying Bernardo dived and it's unethical and all this kind of stuff, and how is that a penalty? If I'm being fully real with you, I don't see how it's not a penalty. Xhaka sticks out his leg, and he pulls Bernardo's shirt. If anything, it's 2 penalties, twice over. I'm not sure where the complaints come from there. And of course, Mahrez tucked it away beautifully. What do you think about that one?
Just one more penalty. That is the clearest decision probably of the afternoon, really, if you think about it. There's 2 bits of contact that he's made, and he's gone down after the second one. He's tried to stay on his feet after the initial contact where he stuck his leg out. He's then pulled his shirt to stop him from getting away and getting a crossing. So he's gone down, and it's a penalty. He's clear as day. If that happens the other way around, they're screaming for it. And if that happens the other way around, I'm not complaining. I know it's a penalty if that happened. It's absolutely ridiculous to suggest it's not. And again, Gabriel booked for stamping on the penalty spot, scuffing the penalty spot. He still scores, and then he goes and gets himself sent off. They threw it away, Arsenal. They really did. They can only have themselves to blame. They did really, throw the game away. They were in control for at least an hour of the game, if not more. And obviously, a few decisions go against them. A few players decide to do something a little bit stupid, and the game turns on its head.
I think if Arsenal had a bit more composure as a team, I think they lack that experience, Arsenal, at the minute, of big high intensity games that we've obviously been through from numerous title races over the years. If they had a bit more composure, they easily could have beaten us. You know what I mean? Like, they caught us on a day or a week, even at this stage. I think, if we're being honest, including the Brentford game, a week of below par performances and looking poor. I think if you didn't watch the game, for those of you at home, to summarise it as quick as possible, Joe said it there. Arsenal threw it away. They really did throw it away. But listen, we got our 3 points. That's the main thing. I'm a bit underwhelmed with the performance. I think Joe mentioned there's about 2 weeks now to the next Premier League game. Obviously, it's a massive, massive game. We play at home to Chelsea. I think I'm going over for it. But I'm very glad there's 2 weeks in between that and now, because something needs to improve. Maybe they need a rest for a couple of days. I don't know what it is, but there needs to be improvement if we want to get 3 points there. I think 3 points against Chelsea, regardless of the result they have against Liverpool tomorrow, would be absolutely massive in terms of the actual title race overall. But with that much said, let's get over to our player ratings and see what we gave these players. I think you'll find we were carried by a few superstars. Let's get over to it. Right, Joe, the player ratings for Arsenal versus City, we're going to pop up on screen now. And like I said a second ago, you'll see very much that we were carried by a few players, at least in our opinion anyway. As always, do get involved down below in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on our ratings and would you rate anybody differently. So starting off with Ederson and net, someone I always rave about is Ederson. I'm always very confident and comfortable with Ederson. I always say it. My line for him is best in the business, because I do believe he is. But on this occasion, I thought Ederson was below par, is a term I use very regularly in these situations. I thought he was below par. He was very uncomfortable looking, shaky at times. Obviously, he's usually very ice cold and composed, but I think he maybe held on to the ball a bit too long and nearly got us caught out a few times. And he easily could have cost us the game through, I don't know if it was lack of composure or, once again, we keep mentioning it, fatigue. He wasn't his beautiful best today. Luckily, there was no catastrophes as such. Moving into the defence, we have Ake at 8. We thought he was pretty good. He's had a pretty good week overall, I think, Ake. He kind of did what he was asked to do. He was good going forward, and he may find himself a role in left back now. He may really push Zinchenko, obviously, who is usually our left back unless Cancelo plays there and Walker on the right. Ake could find himself playing there. And I think he deserves more and more opportunities if he keeps playing like this. There's no reason why not. Laporte and Diaz both a 7. We said they had a tired-looking performance midweek, and I think it was the same again today. I thought they were okay. We said before we hit record, we didn't really notice Diaz too much, which if you're a centre half is probably a good thing in a way, because it means you had no disasters and there was no issues. Laporte was there for the goal in the box. He played his role, yes, but there was also a few instances, I think, where Laporte wouldn't be too proud of himself. And Cancelo, we said before we hit record, we gave a 6 to. We said he probably shouldn't have been in London at all. Obviously, he had an awful night the other night. Him and his family went through something quite traumatizing. So I think the smart decision today would have been not to travel to London and stay in Manchester with your family. But I suppose credit to him for turning up and playing. But yeah, I don't think it was his best day. I don't think he'll look back in this one as one he's very proud of for his individual performance. Joe, the back four, what are your thoughts?
Well, Edison is Edison. He'll always have that, rash side to his game. That's just how he plays the game. But today it was over the top, unnecessary. I don't know whether it's just a general lack of communication. Maybe it's a language thing, considering, the back four, Diaz and Cancelo all speak the same language. Laporte and Ake speak other languages. Maybe his English isn't the best, but there was that one chance where Laporte's he tried to head it back to Edison, and Edison's rushed out to go and get. Edison has no need to go and rush out. Laporte has got it. He's going to win the header. I don't think I can remember. Now, I'm probably being wrong in this. I don't think I can remember him losing like a defensive aerial battle at all. He's always good at that. He always seems to win his headers. He's got no need to come and rush out. If Laporte has told him not to rush out and he's still done it, like Laporte's expecting him to be able to be far back enough to catch it. But he's rushed out, and I don't know whether that's just a general lack of communication or what. But again, it was just poor from both parties. And luckily, Ake was there to clear it off the line. That was another game-changing point where you look at it and go, yeah, no, Arsenal, they should have taken one of these chances. If they did, they would have won the game. And, they didn't. Defensively, just not there. We just looked tired all over the place. Cancelo, I think there was one point in like the 96th, 97th minute right at the end of the game where he runs forward to press up and try and win the ball. They knock it past him, and I'm screaming at the TV for him to get back in position and stop the cross. It comes to nothing, but he shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there. He should have stayed at home. He should have taken a break. The news that Walker was back in training, I would have had him in the team. Obviously if Walker's not there, then you don't really have a choice, but he was there, so I don't know why you needed to risk it. And it was always going to be the case that he was probably a little bit shaky today, because why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, I think our back four had a lot more to do today than they usually do. Obviously, like I said, I think Arsenal put in a pretty good shift, and they put our back four definitely under pressure at times. I think we spoke about when Martinelli hit the post some way through the second half there. If that had gone in a completely different game, and we're talking about this game in very much a different light. Moving into the midfield, you'll probably notice our midfield is, other than De Bruyne, maybe it's probably the reason we won this game today. I think 2 outstanding performances from Rodri and Bernardo is the reason that we got our 3 points. Obviously, maybe Rodri wasn't outstanding, but we gave him a 10, we gave Bernardo a 10, we gave De Bruyne a 7. We probably maybe wouldn't have given Rodri the 10 if he didn't score the goal, but I don't think he had a bad game either by any means. I think he was doing quite well. But obviously the goal is it's the massive thing for him. We gave him the start. We gave him the man of the match. He got the goal. Great celebration. He's the man of the moment today. Bernardo, a very, very good performance again. We were underwhelmed with him midweek against Brentford, but I think he turned it back up today and he was looking pretty good. Maybe not his best, but he was looking pretty good. He's one of the best players on the pitch. And of course, he won the penalty for us that Mahrez put away. So that was absolutely huge. De Bruyne is a mystery to me at the minute, Joe. He's a mystery to me. He really is. He's someone you can't really leave out in big games like this, but he's not playing great, is he? What are your thoughts on midfield?
No, De Bruyne is not playing at his best, and it's been clear that he hasn't been at his best at all this season, and it's a mystery. We're never going to know why. He's been back long enough now. You can't put it down to form, fitness, confidence. Why a player like that shouldn't need confidence. He shouldn't need it. It's a mystery as to why he's playing like this. Is he adapting still? Who knows? Why is it taking this long? Who knows? Is he going to get better? Probably. Hopefully sometime soon, Obviously February is the time where the Champions League knockouts start, so I beg he's back to, his best, or around his best by that time. But I mean, again, didn't notice him. Didn't notice him too much. I thought there was times when we transitioned out the back from Arsenal's press where we broke through their press and he carried the ball really well. He always does that. He's a very good ball progressor. He'll always carry the ball well. I thought his passing was a little bit better than it has been, although his passing, is especially like his final third passing over the last few games has been pretty poor. He's been giving the ball away sometimes. He kept it a bit simpler today, which I liked. We kept the ball a bit better, or he kept the ball a bit better. But again, I didn't notice him. He wasn't, obviously I'd rather him not take 40-yard screamers, but he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't shooting. He wasn't in a position to really get like an assist or something. He was just kind of there. He was a passenger for most of the game. It's just really, really odd. But then he's lucky that the other two in midfield, just good. Just good. Bernardo, a 10 out of 10, won the penalty. I think for the last few games, you've got to say, he's been a bit underwhelming by his standards that he's set for himself this season. He hasn't been like sort of, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 for the last few games. But he showed up when it mattered. Big game, 1-0 down at half time. He shows up. He's a big game player. He helps us a lot. And then Rodri obviously had a Bayor-esque with the celebration in front of the home fans. Shirt off, first booking for him of the game. I was screaming for him to crop people at times just to break up counter-attacks. I'm glad he didn't, because the celebration was mega.
The celebration was mega. That was probably the best part of the game. It was not even Rodri scored the goal. It was actually a celebration. And some unsavoury scenes, Arsenal fans, if you're watching this. Not impressive, launching missiles. Not that I don't think the City fans behave much better from what I read on Twitter, but listen, we'll take it anyway. Moving into the front three: Sterling 7, Jesus 7, Mahrez 9. Mahrez was by far and beyond the best of the front three. I thought he was very, very good today. I think he's having a very good season, probably his best for City so far, or maybe rivaling a little bit with halfway through last season. But he's having a very, very good season so far. And I must say, without him today, Rodri and Bernardo, 3 points was not happening. Sterling was not bad, I think it's fair to say. You can give your thoughts as well. I don't think he was bad, but I think Tommy Yasu, the Arsenal right full back, really gave Sterling a tough time. He's a good player, that Tommy Yasu. So Sterling probably found it tough. I think any player, you said before recording, any player would have found dealing with Tommy Yasu today a difficult task. Jesus as a player, I'm not impressed with at the minute. We gave him a 7, possibly a little bit flattering. Had little or no impact other than getting enticing the red card for Arsenal, if you like. Other than that, pretty well nothing from Jesus. I think he's going to need to improve. Obviously, no Foden today. We don't know why. We have our suspicions that it could be COVID related, but we don't know. He maybe would have had a bit more of an impact than Sterling or Jesus, but shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of thing. What are your thoughts on the front three, Joe?
I mean, it's no coincidence that they didn't get high ratings. We had 2 shots on target all game and scored 2 goals, so it's not really a shock that our attacking 3 didn't get high ratings. I mean, Mahrez scores the equaliser. He was the best of the forward line. I thought he's been largely underrated at times this season. I think it's gone under the radar how good he's been, because his stats are so high and you go, well, where have all these goals come from? You don't remember half of them. He just kind of pops up and scores, gets an assist or something. And like you said, it's probably one of, if not his best seasons so far, which I'm happy to see. I know we did the video on Jesus and Mahrez. But Jesus at the moment, he's just failing to impress. He gets the 7 off the back of some smart play, which resulted in the red card. He just wasn't good. I think the substitution to take him off for Gundogan was the right thing to do. With Gundogan on the pitch and 10 men for Arsenal, we controlled the game much better. We kept the ball. De Bruyne moved further forward, although he didn't have too big an impact. He was still a focal point up there. He was still pressing really well when he went up there, the main presser. And then, as you said, Sterling, Tommy Yasu is just a really good defensive fullback. There's not, you're going to struggle, whoever that is there. I think I said Foden probably would have done better if he was available for this game on the left, because I just think he's a lot more tricky than most of our wingers, apart from Mahrez. I think you can't put Mahrez on the left because he's just so good from the right. So I think someone like Foden, possibly Grealish, although he hasn't been the best either, but definitely Foden I think would have had a better time. But Sterling, he wasn't bad. His first touch was a bit off. He tried to drive at the defence, but again, it just wasn't coming off because of how good Tommy Yasu is. But, I mean, we won the game. We've got a gap now. So I think when you look at the game against Chelsea that we've got coming up next, there really shouldn't be an excuse with the big gap that we've got now. You've got a chance to give players a rest.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we play Swindon next. Am I right in the FA Cup?
No, I think it's Chelsea then Swindon.
Oh, is it right? Well, either way, we have a rest, and I think players should be given time off because, it's probably a lot of luck involved that we got 6 points out of this week. Two, not great performances, but you know what? If we are to win the league come May, we'll look back on this period and say, this is the reason we won the league. You know, champions performances when you're not playing well and you're still picking up 3 points. Overall, a tricky day. Arsenal definitely gave us a tough time. Like I said earlier on, they may feel like they deserved a point, and they probably did, to be fair to them. But in terms of City, we don't really care how Arsenal feel. We got our 3 points. That's the main thing. Leave your thoughts down below on our player ratings. Leave your thoughts down below on the match. Get involved. Leave a like in the video as well. It really helps us. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you very soon. Hopefully, with a bit more optimism. Looking forward to the Chelsea game. Good night. God bless.